What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 13th episode of Speaking of Stadia. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron, and as with me always is my bearded beauty, my favorite John Krasinski on the internet, too tall himself, the Stay Daddy, Jacob Porter.
I like
Jacob,
it.
how are you, buddy?
I like the addition like that. That's why. Yeah, and I've been dadding it up a lot lately. So on the socials. So
that's right.
Gotta show those cute daughter pictures. No, good stuff.
Your daughter is so cute, and those family pictures are awesome.
Yeah. No, we have a bunch more. I posted that one because we did family photos like 3 weeks ago, and we're gonna send out Christmas cards, but we don't want to like spoil everyone like with the photos that they're gonna get in their Christmas cards. Sure. So I posted that one because that's
a couple of teasers.
Yeah. Been good. It snowed here, so enjoying some snow. Just a little like 1 inch, not bad, but.
Is this your first snow of the season out east?
Yes, first snow.
Oh, wow.
I mean, first like we've had some like flurries that just have been like flurries, nothing that's just. This is the first snow that actually stuck. It's funny where I am. We always get more snow than ever. Like I'll drive to work, and I'll drive like 15 minutes towards work, and then there'll be no snow, but there'll be like 6 inches by me. It's just really funny how because I work like 2 hours away, like really like an hour drive, but without traffic, but yeah, so it's just interesting. But yeah, first snow of the season. I'm excited. Nice. I like snow. A lot of people here don't, but I do.
I do too. We've had 2 snows this year that have made me very happy. But Colorado's weird, man. Our first snow was last week of September, and then it goes to really nice again, and then it will randomly snow again. So our weather's kind of crazy. But yeah.
Cool. So let's just
weather podcast,
jump right into it. How do you like Cyberpunk?
Oh, just going for it. Okay. So let's start off the episode. For those who don't know, Cyberpunk dropped at 5 p.m. my time, so that'd be 7 p.m. your time, Mr. Porter.
You're recording on the 9th. This is the 9th.
On the 9th. Yep, on December 9th. And it dropped early for Stadia and PC first, and then consoles will go live tonight at midnight. So I feel like this is the first time we have like true first impressions on something, which is kind of fun. I love it. I made my boy. Took me almost an hour because I'm really into character creation. The character creation is super robust. There's 40 hair options just to give you an idea of what you're in for. So like, I give you a lot of stuff.
I saw for the girls it's like 32 hair options because Alana Pierce posted a video about her making her character. And hair 31 is her hair.
Yep, she said 31 or 32 was
it's at a 32 is the last. I think there's only 32 hairstyles for women is what I think. Maybe I misread it. Maybe it's 31 or 32. I thought it was 31 of 32.
I might have misread it too, honestly. So yeah, 40 for the dudes, a little bit more there. The character creation is really robust. I appreciate that it's not overdone though. They actually don't give you the option to like tweak cheeks and
like the Skyrim stuff where you can like
exactly, because that's just too much for me personally. Like I'm all about like give me my options, let me pick my favorite, and then I'm good. Let me just move on.
You don't watch Monster Factory then, do you at all? I'm a big fan of Griffin McElroy and the McElroy family in general. And when they were on Polygon, they still do it on their own. They left Polygon last year, I think. They did a segment called Monster Factory where they would just make monsters. Sometimes they run mods to mess them up even more, but like they would just make these monsters, and it was it's so funny. It's hilarious. They're very funny. People recommend them highly.
Way back when Skyrim dropped, I was all about that type of stuff. And now like I really appreciate a good character creator, but at the same time I appreciate something that helps me get to the game a little bit quicker.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's gives you options, but not overbearing.
Yeah. So for anybody listening, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and just spoiler tag this right now. I'm only 2 hours in, so if you're not worried about anything in character creation or the first 2 hours, keep listening. You're fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and go a little bit in depth of the game. So finishing up character creation.
Skip like 10 minutes is a good way, I think.
Yeah, probably skip the first 10 to 15 minutes if this is not your jam. No, I don't know if I'll go that long.
No, I'm joking.
Character creation. You want to hear the most disappointing thing?
What?
The dong creation. I really expected
Disappointing?
more. Yeah, you
Oh.
get basically like circumcised, uncircumcised, big or small, and that's it.
Oh, that's terrible. I know, like
Yeah.
Conan, you can like really go like hog wild, and pun intended. Uh,
And then you can definitely customize your pubes.
hmm.
And they just give you some
Well, yeah,
design options.
I saw your guys' dong and character,
Yeah,
and
he's got a little bit of a heart
yeah,
shape above it
it's
because
cute,
why not?
cute.
Yeah. But there's like some really cool tattoo options. Overall, I was pretty happy with the character creation. I went street kid,
Okay.
so I will. Hearing how long the game is, I will probably run through it on Corpo as well because I really wanted to play both.
Nomad
But I
seems the
did
most
pick
interesting to
street.
me, but
Which one?
Nomad seems the most interesting to me.
It's
So
just too Mad Maxian for me. I
okay,
don't know. It's a little bit of a trailer park boy, but I think all three sounded interesting. I'm all about Street Kid in terms of like it makes the most sense to me for Keanu Reeves' character, which I'm very excited about.
okay.
So that's kind of the only reason I was like leaning into that.
So in the first 2 hours, you haven't
Um,
seen him yet.
nope,
Okay,
nope,
cool,
not
cool,
there
cool.
yet.
That's good.
I did choose to play through though. They do early on give you the option to play a tutorial. And right off the bat, they're like, if you want to do these tutorial missions, we suggest it. If you've already been an edge runner, is what they call you. They're like, then just skip it and keep having fun. Since it was my first time, I went ahead and played through them. They're all pretty standard. Like the controls aren't anything too crazy. So I rolled through the 4 tutorial levels really quickly.
Use the left stick to move or to look. Use the right
It's
stick.
not quite that bad, but it is pretty
I
bad.
got
It
it.
is definitely like hold this to aim and then right trigger and like why to
Some
pick
people
things up. And
absolutely need that, but not
sure,
me, who's played games for the last 20 plus
exactly. And
years.
so I wasn't totally sure. I appreciated some of the hacking stuff. I don't think I would have actually known that. So if you haven't played this game yet, I actually do suggest going through the 4 tutorial levels. It literally added less than half an hour to my experience
Okay,
to
cool.
go through all 4. And the hacking stuff I thought was really important. And they do some really cool like kill and hide the bodies things that aren't normal. Usually it's kill, pick up, walk over, hide the body. They do have some really slick ways that you can do that. And then I thought the melee tutorial was also really worth it. There's a couple really interesting mechanics in there that I think are worth playing through.
Is it locked to first person, or is there a third person option, or is it only in vehicles you can go third?
I think it's only in vehicles that you can go third
Okay,
person.
as I
They
figured.
do have controller options for both first and third, but I haven't found any way to go third person in like just walking around.
I always do find it interesting where like you have these big character creators for a first person game where you literally see none of your character. And I just always find that very fascinating. It's like I guess maybe in cinematics or cutscenes if you see them, I'm not sure, but like, do you even? I mean, in a cinema scenes, have you seen your own character yet?
I have in the first 2 hours I've seen my character 3 times already.
Okay, cool, cool.
They do
So
a really cool job of making it like very stylish and again, spoilers, that like opening scene after you make your character and you kind of do this first job, you meet one of your like side characters and companions and it goes through this like party scene. He's like, "Let's go get lunch and basically get fucked up."
okay,
And you go through this whole like party montage and a lot of that like at one point you're like bent over the sink doing drugs and then he like looks up and he's right in the mirror and that's you and everything you've created and they do a lot of good stuff of like random reflection stuff where you'll catch yourself.
cool.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, I've dug it. um I will say like some of the character creation you can even paint your nails and being like the street kid I was all punk rock and I did like these green and black like checkerboard nails.
Hmm.
How much that shit shows up is wild. When you're looking around and down at yourself, you'll see all your tattoos like
That's
really
cool.
well.
Okay,
You see
good,
the
good.
fingernail painting. Like it really did make me feel like my V was mine, even in those, like, if it's not my face, all the other little details that I've done. And I'm really excited about like unlocking new outfits and things like that because they really put in the work.
Okay, good. That's I always worry about that with first person games because so often you just look down and you see your feet. I think that's it.
Right.
And
Oh no, yeah,
so
you'll
so
have
yeah,
full
yeah,
hands and
just
everything. It literally does feel like you're looking down.
good.
Um yeah, I'm super into the voice acting already. A lot of the side characters that I met are really cool. There's so many choices. There are so many choices already. And from what I understand, they affect so much. You can get people killed really early on. Like it's pretty wild. Some of the choices are even timed, which I really appreciate. So it's not like I can sit there and contemplate the universe forever. Yeah, And then gameplay overall, I'm really enjoying it. And then let's obviously we're a Stadia podcast, so let's talk about how it runs on Stadia. To me, this was going to be a game that I thought was Stadia's first big test, right?
Mhm.
Um, and maybe not. I think Doom probably pushes the technology
Yeah,
quite a bit. Doom is
in
really
terms of
pretty
speed.
and yep, and it's very fast paced and it has to like process a lot. So, but I think about games like Immortals, which we'll get into what have you been playing, and I have a lot to say about that game too.
Mhm.
And I think of all these other like bigger games, and Stadia has had some tests, but for some reason I pointed to this one to be like, this is going to tell me a lot.
Mhm.
Um, on my PC, console smooth, absolutely wonderful. And then I popped over to mobile, really good. I actually couldn't tell if there was just a little bit of latency though.
That's with the
Um,
Kishi?
with the
Okay.
Kishi specifically. So
Okay.
I should probably hook up the controller to it just to see if that changes anything, run a USB to it. Um, but the Kishi, it did feel just a hair off moving from my PC to it, which I think is why it was noticeable. And then on my TV, I will admit, and I'm hardwired in through the Chromecast Ultra, there was a decent chunk of latency on that one.
Okay. I mean, it is the first day, so I do take it with a grain of salt of like
Me too.
everyone's playing this game right now. There's like this is
Yes.
since day one. This is probably the biggest server test for Stadia.
Totally agree.
So I take it with a grain of salt, and I hope most people do because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
A lot of the media didn't at first too, because like anytime you launch a new product that's sort of internet based, server based, you're gonna have issues for the first day, and then hopefully they figure out the server load issues and then they fix it. So I'm hoping that, and also just the game is buggy in general from what I've heard. So let's
Which that's what actually surprised me. I mean, again, grain of salt.
yeah.
I'm only about 2 hours in,
Mhm.
not a single bug. I haven't had any issues. And again, my PC experience was absolutely console smooth. I was wireless on the Stadia controller, and it played fantastic. I absolutely adored it. You were asking me about frame rates. I did have it on high frame rate. I think it's
Okay.
probably the refresh rate of my monitor that I was playing on, to be
Oh, okay.
honest.
I mean, they should be 60 though. Still, most standard
You would
monitors are
think.
60.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It just didn't. Maybe it's the 4K. I don't know. It just didn't quite feel like it was a full 60. But again, it still felt like a console game. Still felt really good to play. Had no problems shooting or anything like that.
Okay.
So
Good.
yeah. Um, but overall, like I was blown away by Stadia yet again. I've been very nervous and I've been very open about the fact that like if it ran like trash, I was going to immediately return it, buy it on the PlayStation 5 and just go from there.
Okay.
But I have absolutely no qualms and I don't think I'm going to return it. It's absolutely playable on everything I've played it on. And again, the latency on TV specifically, I absolutely am not concerned about at all.
Good.
And it wasn't even game breaking. It was just very noticeable going from PC to TV.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, it does that thing where like in a first person game, when you're trying to pan, how it starts really slow and then it like kind of
The accelerated
catches
thing,
up.
like yeah.
Yeah. That's where I like felt it the most, where it wasn't doing that on PC. It felt very smooth and normal and yeah. So nothing like that was tripping me up, nothing that got me killed in a mission that I was doing. Yeah. But also, I know we already talked about like customizing your junk,
Hmm.
and you can be man or woman and customize whatever you want around that, and trans if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they do.
uh but this game is so rated R, and so as a podcast with two dads, like Uriah was never around, my wife was giggling at me making my character. She thought it was really funny that you could do that, but like it's perfect for Stadia because this is not a game my kid will ever be allowed to be around because I never know when something will shift. For a little bit, I was going through the missions and I was like taking down robots and like that was the tutorial stuff. And I let him watch a little bit of that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm back into the story. So you got to go. And like, not kidding, within minutes, there were boobs on the screen, like full on. And it is just, they do not give a shit. It is
Yeah.
out there. They are as edgy as they want to be for whatever sake. So that's
Yeah.
my only
Yeah.
disclaimer. If you have
Definitely.
kids, not for them.
That's good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
I really didn't watch too much of it. Well, at least the recent stuff. So I don't really. Granted, I'm not sure how much they showed of that in their streams because they're probably not going to. Um, so I really wasn't
Right.
aware of how like people are talking about like the dong stuff online. I'm like, oh, there is dong, dong. You can customize that. I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently you can. So that's
Yeah,
I just didn't realize how. I mean, I've seen. I felt like we were talking before. I read Tokyo Ghost, which is a cyberpunk style comic that I really like and recommend to everyone. It's the one that got me really into comics, especially.
nice.
I mean, Sean Murphy's art is phenomenal, and he does the one that does White Knight. So,
Okay, yeah.
so he's the one that writes. He writes and does the art for that. He does the art for Tokyo Ghost, while Rick Remender writes it.
Okay,
And the same colorist that he uses for White Knight as well. So
nice.
Matt Hollandsworth, he's the best colorist for that kind of style. So yeah, but yeah, anywho, so I understand like it is very like upfront and that kind of stuff as well in that cyberpunk like mindset world. So, but I just didn't really think about it when playing like Tool Talking with the game. So
No,
interesting. Yeah.
it's very, very in your face about it. V is already an interesting character. Again, I think the choices all are very interesting. It definitely makes me take pause. I've really enjoyed the dialogue options. The world is gorgeous. I'm very, very excited to see more of it. I've seen a little bit of Night City in the daytime and at night. It's absolutely beautiful. So no, I'm definitely pumped to play more, and I would never get to play this game without Stadia.
Yeah. Because your son is everywhere.
Yeah, all the time. So yeah, that is my initial impressions of Cyberpunk. I'm very excited to dig in more. Um, I've spent the last couple weeks kind of toning down my expectations only because I've had this game on my radar since 2013.
Yeah, I mean
And
7 years ago.
yeah, and I've shared on this podcast how excited I was. I reeled that in a little bit and I think that was smart, and now I'm just very excited.
Okay.
It also feels very CD Projekt Red. As somebody who enjoyed a lot of The Witcher, like all the side characters seem so well fleshed out and have just great, very individual personalities. Nothing seems like cookie cutter. They just take such time in their worlds, and so I'm pumped.
Awesome. I'm happy for you. It's a
Thank
game
you.
I probably will pick up at some point. I just don't have
Sure.
any immediate drive. Like I don't know
Sure.
why. Gaming for me this year has been just odd because I think because of Stadia, it's been just very different than what I thought it was going to be going into it. But no, I mean I'm excited still to play it at some point. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful from what I saw. I was watching some streams before we got on, so looks exciting. So
Yeah.
well, I'll jump into what I've been playing in general recently to give you a little bit of break from talking about games.
I'm just rambling.
I will just
appreciate
jump
that.
back to you.
Tell me what you have been playing.
I'm
'Cause I'm
playing
excited to
a
know.
ton of Outcasters. I think I got to level like 16 or 17 now, or something like that.
Dang.
Level, but no, it's just a really fun game. Actually, a buddy of mine made a game / making a game. That has like some similar concepts to it. In terms of like just being a battler. An arena battler kind of thing. But yeah, it's a really fun just like game to play with friends. If you like online multiplayer, I like the twist of it as you can curve all your shots and control them. Like the power ups for it, they're really fun. They change it up, and the different level designs are pretty cool and unique. So I like the end round screens are really fun. Like there's actually one where it's a play on Han being in the carbonite. Where you drop into a vat of chocolate and they're like these chocolate cards like on. So
Yeah.
just it's a really fun game. I like their social media presence and they really back it up with a really fun game. So
You've been playing with famous people too.
Oh yeah, well no, I wish I could have gotten in the event stream because I was like crap. I was like oh no, I wasn't ready for this. If I had my PC ready, I would have been right in there. And I really wanted to face Austin Creed. Is really what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you got to go against the commit.
But yeah, I did join one of the hosts, Kate's. She did her own stream afterwards, and a few days later, and then I played with her. And then I played with
You played with her twice, right, Katie?
Oh, Katie. Well, did I? Oh, Did I get into the Bomberman thing too, or?
Yeah, didn't you play Bomberman on the stream?
You're right. I did get into Bomberman. Okay, you're right. I did get into Bomberman, but Austin Creed was not in that game, so you're correct. I forgot about But yeah.
Oh yeah, so technically you did play with the commish,
Yeah.
and now Katie twice.
So yeah.
You are basically Stadia famous.
No, not at all. Actually,
Next week,
people
are going to be waiting in queue to play with you.
I saw Duncan from Cloudy with, I think it's Cloudy with a Chance of Games. He's part of now. He was with Stadia Source and left. But I saw him in one of the early Outcasters game, and some of the other Stadia guys representing too. I think Dan from Stadia Source was one of those two. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, it's good to see. And it was I actually did jump into it. We'll get to that in a little bit. I did watch a few streams from people, but then I played a little bit of the other new game we got announced at the event, which we're gonna talk about more. I guess I'll just talk about it now. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. Actually, as I talk about it, Sunken. I'm blanking on the title right now. Submerged. Hidden Depths. So.
What did you think of that? I have not had a chance to jump into that. I know it's pro right now. So.
Yeah, it's pro. Stadia it's pro and Stadia exclusive. Right. It's a sequel to a previous game that I'd never heard of. Okay. There's no combat. It is all just you going around. The world looks beautiful. I think the game is the art direction is very good. The gameplay it's a bit of a collectathon. It starts off you and your brother are going on this boat to this this location, all these buildings. You're like kind of just going through and seeing all these big structures and this plant life around them. And then you land there, you sleep. Oh no, you walk around, you find this seed thing and bring this seed thing to the plant, and then it cures it of like the black goo that's on it, and then you take a boat and go to another one of these like buildings and then do the same thing. And like as you're going through you're collecting some stuff as you go up to the top of the building. It's a fun, relaxing game. I think it's a game my wife would enjoy just because it's nice. Relaxing. There's no combat. It's low stakes, and you're just collecting stuff. I thought it was fine. It's not like a phenomenal game by any means. It's not something that I say like, oh, go buy Stadia to play this game. But it's a good addition. It's odd that it's not one of those kind of like you need to go play this game. That Stadia paid for it, like for the exclusivity.
Buy Stadia.
You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm saying Stadia would buy it, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you said don't go buy Stadia for it.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably maybe I did. I don't know. But yeah, I go like pay for Pro to play this game, or go invest in the Stadia ecosystem to play this game. Like, it's fine. It's like a solid like 6 to 7 game. It's nothing like gonna blow you away, but. I know 9 to 5 Google did a review of it, was disappointed by it. I think it a little harsh on it. I think it was, from my little bit, is fine. Granted, there's like 12 or something locations you unlock to do, so I only did one of them. So, but I played it for about like an hour or so. It was fine. I started Into the Breach just to kind of test how that game runs on us. I did a 4G test. I was waiting for my daughter to get a blood test done, just for routine blood test.
Sure.
And with my wife, and in the car, and I was like, oh, well, I'll wait for him. I'll play with I'll see how Stadia works on the phone. I know Into the Breach is probably a good game for touchscreen, and because it's just a tactics game. And I got through like the tutorial. That's it, and it plays fine. I actually was playing on like 40 down via 4G in my pretty much in my town, which is very rural, like mountainous area, and was fine. Actually, there is a tower right across the street from where I was, so take that with a grain of salt. I had, but it worked beautifully. So it's actually, it was like a fun game. I like the Advance Wars games a lot, and the Fire Emblems and whatnot. So I'm excited.
Will you come back to it?
Oh yeah, I'm actually gonna go back to it. I'm gonna finish it, play more, but I just didn't get a chance. I didn't have. They would go done faster than I thought they were gonna be. Nice. Of the other games, I'm trying to think what else I've played recently. I mean, I played a little bit of Bomberman 2. I still play a bit of that here and there. What else? I on the Black Friday sale, I bought Doom 2016 and played probably an hour to 2 hours of that. Nice. Just to see how, because I never played Doom 2016. Sure. I think I did like a free weekend, and I tried it then on PS4. But I'm like, oh, it's on Stadia. I know it probably has similar like pace and whatnot to Doom Eternal. So let me try a fast paced game on Twitch shooter on Stadia, and I loved it. I thought it was great. The game is fantastic. It's really quick. You're kind of finally getting all the abilities. I just got the chainsaw, so I got that now to go ripping and tearing.
I love that game. It's
But no,
so
it's
fun. The brutality of it all is
brutality, the
amazing.
momentum, the soundtrack, everything about the game is awesome. So I'm really
Yeah,
enjoying that. I'm definitely gonna go back to that and sink more
it
time
is.
into that
It's
game.
my favorite frustrated game. Like, have you had a long day? Just go fuck up some demons to heavy metal.
Yeah.
It will make you feel better.
Oh, absolutely. I do. I mean, we'll get to them later. I do want to play at least most of the other pro games this month. There's a good selection of stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah. Oh, I'm not sure if I talked about it. I went back and played a few. I went back and tried Ember again recently. I don't think I played that when we talked last. And Orcs Must Die 3.
Oh, you did?
Just to say that actually, I dug a bit into Orcs Must Die 3, and I do enjoy the game. I do actually really want to try that co-op. I know we said that probably
Okay.
when it came out, and I do want to try that co-op with you if you can.
I'll definitely try it. That
Because
game does not seem like my jam, I'll be honest. But all games are my jam with co-op with friends. I'm always
yeah, exactly. So it seems like a game that like it's fine on my own. Like it's fun enough. But I think co-op would make it actually like more enjoyable in terms of coordinating and talking to each other and saying, "Oh, you cover this door, I'll cover this door. I'll place traps here, here, here." Like, it's a little hectic with one person, whereas like you have people coming from both doors at sometimes, and you're trying to run around. Like you can't wait. You're getting like overwhelmed at towards the end. You're just like sitting there in the last room, like blocking and trying to stop them from getting in. I think it's be a more enjoyable experience with two people. But,
nice. Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, I'm absolutely down. That's one of the games that like I almost want to jump in with somebody else to just show me what I need to do. It seems like a very lazy game.
and then Ember, I tried some of that new content they put in. It's fine. It's the same thing. It's just like different objectives. I think the Ember Eats DLC stuff, like it's just instead of you bringing people out, it's you bringing them food. Like that's it. So just a different path for that. I think the food can get destroyed though, so it's like you gotta worry about that too. It's the only other like twist to it. The game still doesn't feels odd. Like it still just doesn't feel like it controls exactly how I want it to. But
Okay.
it's a fun enough little game. I think that, again, that's another game would be more humorous and more like the humor that they're going for would come across more with multiple people. But it's not a bad game. It's just not like it's still very much an early access game that just feels clunky to move with stuff sometimes. Besides that, that's it. I think I'm done. You talk about Immortals now for another 10
Okay.
minutes.
And I did go 10 minutes on Cyberpunk, even though I said I wasn't going to. So I've been playing Immortals.
Phoenix Rising.
And holy shit, what a game. I love it.
You have me super pumped.
So charming. I what?
You have me so pumped for that game.
Oh my god. It's so charming. It's like obviously we know it's a Breath of the Wild clone, but the humor in it, which we talked about after the demo, but it just carries on even further. And then the customization stuff is really, really fun. Each of the enemy types is really, really interesting. I adore the combat. And when you get really good at combat, you feel so great. And I feel like it's a little bit easier to grasp the timing than Breath of the Wild was.
Okay, I have no frame rate for Breath of the Wild. I played for 5 minutes and it hurt my thumb while playing the Switch. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to play this game anymore. I just like grabbed the controller and started like walking around a bit and shooting some stuff. But so that's it.
Yeah. So Breath of the Wild, I also think is really fun. And when you get down to the combat and you like get good at it, I think there's something there that like kind of clicks. This one just clicked quicker, which got me into the game a lot quicker.
Okay.
So figuring out like the enemy strikes and doing the perfect dodges and then jumping back in and like hitting those attacks and then switching between light and heavy attacks. I don't know. I absolutely adore the combat of it. The flying, the art style is gorgeous. The world itself is absolutely stunning to look at. And then as you meet like more of the gods, they're all really funny. They all have their own characteristics. The puzzles are getting knocked in some of the reviews as being too simplistic. To me, there is something about a game that I'm okay just wanting to not get through. That sounds like I want to rush through it. I'm really glad it's not a game that just wants me to be stuck forever. Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
had certain puzzles that just took me way too long to the point that I just wanted to shut it off. They had combat sections that were just a little too tough that I was like, I need to put this down for a while. This one, while it might take me a little bit, I've never felt like I need to walk away.
Okay.
I can always figure out the puzzle. I can always figure out the enemy. Which I find really endearing about a game like this.
It's more approachable. It's more accessible to more
It
people. I think that way
totally
too.
is. And the hilarious thing is there was 2 puzzles now that I was like overthinking it. I was like, okay, so you're gonna have to do this, and this. And like I was thinking of it from a Breath of the Wild approach of like, I'm gonna have to do these like 3-part steps. And Uriah would be like, just try this. And I'm like, no, that's too simple, kid. And he'd be like, will you just try it for me? And that was the answer. So it almost has like this like childlike wonderment to it a little bit where
That's
like
good.
he just sees it immediately. And like my old man gamer, I'm like, no, there's more to it. And honestly, I'm good with it. So it's one game that me and him switch off and it's great. He's so good at it already. Like
Awesome.
he understands a lot of it. He struggles a little bit on the timing of um like the block, like the perfect dodges and things
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I think he'll catch up super quick because he also has played Breath of the Wild. He's beat a good portion of Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
So I think he'll get there. I think it was just a little bit of rust. But in terms of like how you move through the world and figuring out the puzzles and what to do next, he's on it, man. It's great.
Are you guys just handing out the controller, or does he have his own save he's running?
No, we hand off the controller.
Okay.
We have certain games that we like to actually play all the way through together.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely give him his own save on this one, honestly. But no, we've had a great time. If you die or if you beat like a major, not necessarily a boss, but like a major enemy, then we just switch back and forth right then and there.
Okay.
But no, I am surprised with the Breath of the Wild clone and how Ubisoft it is. Not that's normally a bad thing, but I can feel like I don't know, it can get a little repetitive.
Yeah.
And I'll get into it. I'm gonna talk about Valhalla at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Or just after this.
That's true.
Oh no! Well, no! I get why. Okay, never mind. We'll.
Yeah,
I get why. Okay,
whatever. You got there.
I had the doc right. I didn't have the doc open, so I'm like, oh wait, why?
In comparison, I love this game. I am having a blast with it. I think honestly, the humor and characters drive it home so much for me, and then the customization and a lot of the stuff you can do on top of it and the RPG elements, like I don't know. I said this on Facebook, and Last of Us is going to be my game of the year. I'm 99% sure. But I said I have no problem saying that this is a game of the year contender.
Awesome.
And I mean it.
I'm glad to hear that. And it's a game when it was announced. What was it last year? Last year at E3, this game was announced. I think. Yeah, I guess it was last year because everyone was surprised. It was like, oh, this game's coming out this year because it was supposed to come out in January, I think, of 2020. And got pushed because of Breakpoint. Was it Breakpoint? Ghost Recon, but the new one's Breakpoint, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that one did so bad, and I think one other game did kind of poorly sales. Division 2, no, it was Breakpoint. So they shifted a lot of their stuff. Like there's a few games that like just didn't hit their targets. But it was something whatever it was didn't hit their targets, so they shifted a lot of their games out. And so I was like, back then I was like, in a little bit they showed like this game looks awesome. Like I've been loving the art style. Anything Greek mythology I get a little giddy for. So
yes.
So yeah, this is like very like Greek mythology as opposed to like Odyssey, which is a little like just Greek worlds. I kind of like the mythology side of it more. Like there's actually a board game.
Same.
I was looking at.
If you think about like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that's what this game has that Odyssey didn't. Is the actual like mythology really like at the heart of it?
I know the DLC for Odyssey had a lot of mythology stuff, but I know the base game didn't. So, but yeah,
no, base game didn't have hardly any. I played a good chunk of that.
Yeah, so. No, but I'm excited to play that game. I'm excited for you whenever Ubisoft Plus launches this month because it says end of the month. So I'm guessing next week, and we'll get to that a little bit. Some people said, well, I guess we can just say it right now. Some other Ubisoft games were added the other day, so Ubisoft Plus is imminent. So
Yes,
yeah.
it's coming very soon. In the meantime, we did get Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
we're on the way.
yeah. So um, anything else you've been playing on Stadia? That good old Stadia.
Uh
Besides Immortals and
yeah, Immortals and
and it's been a bit
Cyberpunk.
since we
That's
talked, I think. So
and Immortals definitely held my attention, like, to get me to Cyberpunk, to the point that even when I was switching to other games, if I was messing around with other stuff, I was like, Immortals is just in the back of my head. It's the
good.
first game in a while that, like, after me and the kid played it over the course of a Friday night, like Saturday morning, we got up, made a little bit of breakfast, and kind of looked at each other like, "You want to jump back into that?" And like
Yeah, cool.
immediately came back
So I'm glad
down
that
and started playing it
I'm glad
again.
that he's invested into it. He wants to
Oh
jump
yeah,
back into it. So
he loves it.
just because he's like really the target audience, we're like the people that are also the audience, but like the target audience
Yeah,
definitely is like his age and probably a little bit older. So
yeah, to the point that like he's asking me about family accounts now.
oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah, he's into this
And you
technology.
can share you can choose the games to share to him, so he can't even see Cyberpunk too, which is really cool. That Stadia does that. So
That is super
you
cool
can
and
choose
super helpful.
that from the family share stuff. So that's it for games though, for you.
That's it for games.
So we can move
Um,
right into the
trying
Stadia
to think of
Live
anything on
event.
console, but no.
The Stadia Live event that they did with the commish.
And featuring our own John Krasinski on the internet, too tall himself.
No.
Jacob was in this live event
for like a tiny bit. Actually, I don't think my name actually popped up on screen because I think I died before. I played horribly. I also got really bad drops for abilities, so it was just not my day. But I thought it actually was really really entertaining. I thought it was.
I loved it.
The Dead by Daylight stuff was a little slow there. Besides that, I think it was really well paced.
Too long
overall.
of a game, and while I thought Katie was a great host, I thought she did a really wonderful job. She probably shouldn't have been killer. She didn't. I didn't feel like she totally got the grasp of it.
No. Well, I think she's played the game before because she actually did during her live stream. She played the game again. I don't know. I mean, it was one that killer she wasn't used to, and two, like she was missing people clearly. I could see people the entire time. Like, how do you not see him? He's right in there.
Yeah, I saw so many red glow flashes. But I think you make a good point. I mean, obviously, there's probably a little bit of pressure of having to play this on stream.
That was part of it. I mean, she streams, but this is like
a
lot of people, probably more than she's
yeah,
used to.
Yeah.
So.
And I agree. Like she had a favorite killer that she knew, and when that one got picked in crowd choice, she was like, "Oh, I've never done this one before," and I was like, "Oh." So I agree. The game stuff drug just a little bit, and specifically that portion. But man, overall, I thought it did a great job of like.
I thought Outcasters was fine. Actually, I thought Outcasters wasn't long enough. Personally, I thought Outcasters like for the new game
and the Bomberman stream I was super into.
Yeah, this Bomberman was fun, even though when they died because you can still like follow and they're like shoutcasting for him. I think it was really fun.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was. I thought they did a good job. Austin did an awesome job of keeping things flowing too, and he was a man. He was the main host. She ran the games portion. He did everything else.
Right. Anytime Katie had to go like set up the next game, he got to keep the show going, and I thought that was a really good pull. We've seen some big time YouTubers do this now, obviously.
Yeah.
But I thought Austin was probably their biggest one to date.
Yeah, I kind of wish they pulled him in to do some live streams afterwards too. Because she got pulled in. And she did not. I was actually because she has a good following in terms of subscriber count. Her live streams, I've watched one of them. Played a bunch of games. She had those sitting around around 100 people watching. That was it. Like I was really surprised because like other people I was jumping in like they had thousands. Like I saw a few like the one they advertised with the Outcasters when they did the trailer for Outcasters, the crew whatever it is. I watched their stream and they had a ton of people. They had like 300 people in queue for games for Outcasters with them. They had 10 or 11,000 people watching. Like they had a huge audience. And there's a few other ones that jumped in there. Like there's one Hispanic guy, Vegito is his name.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a ton of he had his like video has like a few 100,000 views like now, like
Jeez.
so like some like they did a really good job of exposure for this. They did I mean a lot of people in the Stadia community were not happy that they weren't included, and I understand why they're upset, but I understand why Google did what they did because their goal is to spread the audience. The people that already invested in Stadia already go to you. Like, granted, yeah, you want to get yourself, your exposure increased. Of course, I get that, but their goal is to get exposure for themselves, and I think they did the right move with it. I think I only recognize one of the streamers prior. That was Kev Tendo. I think of he's the only one oh no, sorry, was it no? Nathan Drew. That was it.
Oh
Nathan
yeah,
Drew.
yeah.
I've heard of him before. I watched a few of his videos, and my friend sent it to me. Everyone else I'd never heard of. At least I knew of. But they did a good job with that. I thought the announcements they had were, besides the 2 exclusive games, were a little interesting. The other one was Valkyria Chronicles 4, which I mean, I'm glad they're adding another RPG and a strategy game as well. So that was good.
It's your jam.
Yeah. Valkyria Chronicles is a game I've always wanted to play, but never actually played a bunch of. I forget why. Like I was gonna play them on the PSP back in the day, but I never did, and I always regret that. Because I always thought I've heard great things about them, especially from one Greg Miller.
Mr. Greg Miller.
I'm blanking on they had. I swear they had 4 games. I'm blanking on the 4.
I am too.
It's bothering me.
Distractedly being like,
so I keep trying to find articles like what was announced, like released at the event, and I can't remember what it was. It's gonna bother the heck out of me that I can't remember what game was the 4th game. But that says something to it. It wasn't as significant as I would have liked it to be. But yeah.
Overall, I thought it was a really well done event.
Yeah, I thought the pace. I think overall, like they were entertaining. I'm glad they did a live stream. I'm just like,
me too.
I've been screaming from the rooftops, like, please use your platform for what
streaming platform.
I don't want to have to sit there and freaking refresh a YouTube page for a video to watch. That's 13 minutes long, whatever.
Go live.
Yeah, like do even just do a premiere. If you have a video, you just pop on there and it's just not live. Use a YouTube premiere.
Right.
Like you have the technology. You built this for hype. You built the premiere thing to build hype around a fan base, and you're just ignoring it.
Oh my god.
Apart from that, needs hype. So it was like so frustrating.
Especially when you're about to launch, which again they did, but when you're about to launch the live stream, like use it,
exactly.
So
that was that. I mean, that was overall. I think it was just that's it. It was well done. And I think they've done a good, like, I've even seen the Reddit is like risen by like 5,000 users, which is like a ton, but like think about that, like how many people actually use Reddit. I mean, that's such a good chunk of people.
Yeah.
I just seen the chats for a lot of these games because like I said, I watched probably 3 or 4 of them. People saying like, "Oh, I have to pay. I have to. Stadia's not free. Stadia's not free. Stadia's not free. I have to pay." Like, no. Like, you have to put a credit card in for if you want to play Outcasters and make a pro account. But just to make an account, you can bypass it and play Bomberman, no problem. And I did see some of the chats did a really good job of the streamers did a good job of messaging that. Others didn't do as good a job, but I think on the whole it was really well done. I think Stadia gave them all a good doc. A lot of people had issues I saw with Bomberman and how the live streaming for that works, the crowd play. Did you have to hit open? There's like a button that says open room. You have to hit that after every game. It's bad implementation of tech, but I wish Google had made that more clear in their doc to these people because a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think they're getting better at their streams.
Yes.
Well, I mean, obviously the
first one,
videos, but
yes,
they're getting better at these presentations.
They're getting better at marketing. Honestly, it's marketing across the board that they're getting better at.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 4 months ago when we were really disappointed, and we were like, "This wasn't great. Really missed the mark." And now, like the last one they did, it was awesome YouTubers, you know, and it was a really snappy. It was just like game after game after game. Here's the news, here's the news. And then this one, I thought it was even better to like not only share the news and some of the games and the trailers, but then to like show off some of the features that you can do in Stadia.
And like, especially because like the big hype around Stadia is like, I think to me is, and it's something missing from Twitch right now, is the ability to really interact with your fan base. And this like shows like how you can really interact with your fan base. And I think the live streams that came after this, even the dozen live streams that they had going, really showed like, oh wow, I can engage with the content creator and in a
Right.
new way. And I think that
Yeah.
really speaks to a lot of people, especially for a low barrier of investment too. Like I don't need to buy. Granted, like Fortnite's free, and they get like other games like that are free, but like they use a free game, Bomberman, which is a fun game. It's a battle royale, which gets a lot of people into it. It's a good thing to do it. It just shows how like you can really interact and how it can. I thought that it was a really well done, and it really showcased the strengths of Stadia, which I think is been a thing for Google that they've missed out on for a while. It's really, they kept focusing on the 4K 60 too much, and now they're really focusing on the real strengths that us as Stadia fans really care about. So yeah,
Totally.
I'm just glad to see it. It was good.
Me too.
And then yeah, we I guess on top of that we got all the December games, which is actually a good chunk of games this month. All
And
good stuff too. Most of them, I think most of them are bangers, except for maybe two of them.
And as a new Hitman fan, you better believe Hitman 2 was huge for me.
Yeah, so we got Secret Neighbor, which is a game I'm probably gonna try just because I'm gonna try and probably be confused by it and stop playing it. Like I had the other two games. I opened them up. I'm like, what am I doing? There's no tutorial. There's nothing telling me what to do.
What
and
the
then
hell's going on?
Everspace actually looks really cool. It's a space like shooter, like looks very open world ish. I saw
kind
one
of funny, best friend and new Stadia adopter Travail. He actually played Everspace and really enjoyed it.
It looks. I saw one of the Stadia Source guys. I think it was Blue Bomb. I said Blue Bob, whatever. I always get his name wrong. Blue Bob, I think. I watched his stream of it, and it looked for like 10 minutes or so, and it was while I was doing dishes, and it looks really unique. The only thing with most space games is like if it's just open space, it's really disorienting in terms of like where you are, like orientation wise.
Yeah.
But I let's see how it is. Monster Jam Steel Titans, which is a game I'm probably not going to play at all.
Are you kidding? I'm 100% going to try me some Monster Jam.
We got Hitman 2. We got
so pumped.
Yeah,
I can't wait for
yes. That. I can't. I really need to go back and play Hitman 1 as well.
It's so good.
Kine, which was I'm not sure a Stadia exclusive, but it was one of the early Stadia games. It was an indie game. I think it has some level of exclusivity. Cool little puzzler. Looks a little unique. I'm kind of
cute
into
robots
it,
make music together.
Yeah. And then Into the Breach, which is a very well liked game, like a roguelike strategy game, which is a unique combination of that. And I think that was it. The 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, okay, it was the 6
Into
games.
the Breach is 2 years old, but IGN gave it a 9.
No, it's a very, very well received game.
Yeah.
Like I'm really excited for that game. I remember the Giant Beastcast and Bombcast guys were really into it. So
ranting about it.
I'm like for like weeks they kept talking about that game, so I'm really excited for that.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a really good month. And then on top of that, we got Submerged and of course Outcasters, which I recommend everyone go play that game. That game is so much fun. Play it with friends if you can. I haven't even played with friends, and I'm loving it. So
nice.
I did live stream it yesterday,
Last
for an hour. So if you want to go back and watch that on our YouTube, I'm probably now with I guess we could skip one thing and segue into that because I think this is a better segue. The YouTube direct streaming is what I used, which is just got released yesterday. It was 2 days ago, really like late. 2 days too late on Monday. I want to say it was like
popping off. Still rolling it out, aren't they? Because I don't have it yet.
You still don't have it? Okay, so they're still rolling out, but I did get it. And jumped in a different hour, and I thought it ran. I mean, I had some lag on my end, but like you were not seeing the lag because it's direct stream.
No, it looked super smooth. It looked like I was honestly like to the point that it looked like I was watching a video after the fact.
So if you're confused about what we're talking about, like if you go on PlayStation or Xbox, you can stream from your Xbox to Twitch or YouTube or whatnot. And it really depends on your internet how the quality is, because you're streaming from that device to the cloud. Like it's not like it's integrated. So Google, being makers of YouTube and whatnot, can take that server that the Stadia Blade and have talked to the YouTube server right next to it and send that video output right there. So your internet's not really impacting that. The only thing that's really I'm sending out is my video, my audio, which is a really small file. It's got a kilobit level of bit rate you're sending out. So you're not affecting your stream at all, what you're seeing in the game, and then you're giving the viewer a better quality image. So I think it's a really big game changer, and I think people are underrating it almost in a way.
I agree.
I think it's really, obviously you said it worked really well. Their crowd choice stuff worked really cool.
Oh yeah,
really well,
loved
and
picking
the
your
interface became
abilities
better.
and seeing all that happen. I also thought the delay was shorter than it is on Twitch, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, no.
From me commenting to you responding was not terrible.
Well, I also had me responding is because I had the YouTube open like right there, so I could see the live chat as well. So
nice.
I do wish that they had a check mark to put the chat into like a corner. You can choose which corner you wanted to go in. That was my one thing during the live stream I kept talking about. But I could see the viewer count in the top left, but that was the only information I got.
I want that, and I want camera support.
Really yes, bad. Cameras I think it'd be a little bit harder. But I think they can do it between Google Meet or Hangouts, whatever they call it now. They can do something with that where you click.
PlayStation is slick. I've been trying some of the direct streaming on PS5, and I can snap the camera wherever I want, and it just does it.
Do you have the PlayStation camera?
I do, and I roll my eyes because it sucks.
I have it for PS4 as well, and because I did some of the PlayStation stuff with PS4 streaming.
I was so pumped about the streaming stuff. As you know, I've been wanting to do a little bit more streaming. Hit affiliate status today. That's cool.
Proud of you. I know Xbox, you can plug in, I think, any USB camera and it'll work. So that's I think I might be wrong on that for Xbox, but
PlayStation like almost gets you there for streaming, but the camera is not good. Low light is terrible. You're talking to somebody who does photography and videography like on a regular basis, so it's definitely, maybe I'm being a bit of a snob, but like the low light stuff was not good. There was definitely a good chunk of film grain. They're claiming it's a 4K camera and it is absolutely not. Like, I don't know.
It's probably 4K, which is funny because Sony makes literally if you have a phone right now, just look at your phone camera. I guarantee you it's a Sony's lens. I guarantee you it's a Carl Zeiss Sony lens. Like
fair.
Like, or image like it's Carl Zeiss is the lenses, sorry, but so Sony does all the image sensors. Like every of the CMOS sensors are all Sony. Like, guarantee it. So they control like 95% of the like phone camera market. So the fact that they do that, but they can't make a good like webcam version for it's just dumb as hell. But
yeah,
a lot of that is software though. But
sure. Yeah. But I will say the rest of their streaming stuff is really cool. How you can snap the camera to wherever you want. It gives you.
God, we're going so long.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different quadrants.
Yeah,
which is great. But yeah. Anyways,
we're gonna move through this a little faster now because I realize how I'm going. I talked for a lot.
we like to get a little chatty on these. It's been a minute. Also, you were like, you won't go 10 minutes on Cyberpunk. I'm kidding, and then I went 20. So yeah. Anyways, so new games you already talked about. No, you skipped ahead to the YouTube streaming, which is awesome.
Which is a better segue.
To see its future, and I think it's a game changer, honestly.
Yes. Then we have, we already talked about the Ubisoft games of Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. And also we got Immortals, which was a brand new game. We got some new THQ games that were announced.
Currently on sale, by the way, for the new THQ.
Yeah, any of the new games are like older games, like new games to the platform that are older games. They usually are discounted when they come out. Destroy All Humans and SpongeBob Battle of Bikini Bottom, which is one Barrett Courtney's favorite game of all time. So give that game some love.
Love it.
Platformer. Unto the End, which is a game I really know nothing about. I think on Stadia source they say it's a cinematic platformer. The little screen thumbnail looks cool. I want to watch some more about that and see what that's about. That's
I'll be honest, I haven't
also
heard
on
of this
sale.
one, so
that one's also on sale too. Of course, their Stadia source is England based, but it's probably the same for the America in USD. it's usually $20. It's on sale for 15.
Okay.
Or if you're not pro, it's 16. And we got Valkyria Chronicles 4, which is at the event, and then Figment, which is a game. Maybe that was maybe that was the game, but I don't think it was the fourth game for the event. But Valkyria Chronicles 4, I'm excited about.
Yeah, me too.
Figment, I want to look into as well because the little what little bit I saw of it looks interesting. Looks like a little humorous game. So
Chronos from the Ashes.
Oh,
what do you think about
neither
that
of those are on sale. I think Figment's a new game in general. I think, but Valkyria Chronicles is not on sale, which is kind of disappointing. It's only a $40 game, so it's not like Octopath, which is a game I do actually want to play, but that's just too expensive most of the time. And then yeah, Chronos I think it's from the Ashes, or it's part of the Remnant series. It's a prequel to that, the Remnant from the Ashes, whatever it is.
Makes sense.
Or maybe it's before. But yeah, the titles. I was actually kind of digging what I saw of the game, and then I saw reviews. And I'm like, never mind. But it's a Souls-like game.
I'd rather not.
It's sitting like if it's on sale, I'll get it. It's not like I'm gonna pay $30 for. But it's sitting at like 6.8 or something, or 7 on Metacritic. It's not getting well reviewed. It's like it just doesn't do anything different. It's very It's a little bit slower than some Souls games, but it looks cool. I like the art style for it. I thought it was really unique. Some of the enemies were kind of clever looking. So,
nice.
But that game is out. So that's $30. All right, if you're interested, Souls like game, and you already beat Sekiro on Stadia, then go for Kratos.
I did not beat Sekiro on PlayStation either.
Or anything.
I got to the literal halfway boss point and could not get past him.
So, can you do me a favor and open? Actually, can you open the Stadia web? Do you have any of the? Oh my god! What did I just do? No! Oh my goodness!
I got it.
Chrome. Open Stadia and see if you have the new UI. I'm not sure if you've done that yet or not, but I need to open. I do. You do have the new UI?
Yeah. Do you want me to screen share it for our YouTube channel?
No. I just want to see because I use Stadia Enhance. I'm not sure that's like blocking the UI because they have their own like custom UI. And I guess I could disable it.
Which probably actually means I
could probably disable it. Heads up. But I have their custom UI like overlay of Stadia. So by the way, I highly recommend using pants. I highly recommend if you're on two things. If you're on Windows 10, use Edge browser, and if whatever browser you use Stadia Enhance or Stadia Plus. But I think Stadia Enhance is more up to date and actually like what the changes they make. Like in the store, they add a search function. It's like, which is a sought after feature. And then if you're top right, if you like have your avatar, your friends, and then
your controller, and then
there's like a little down arrow, which opens all these options. So I can like force VPN 9 and then native. I can like toggle things on and off. I can make the grid faster. I can do streaming mode. Like, you can use links to speed test in the screenshots, and it's a lot of toggling options, which is really cool. I recommend.
You should have not made me look at that new UI because I pulled up Stadia.com and then Cyberpunk was just staring me in the face. It was just like, "Come back to us."
So we're actually moving through this last little bit. The last things will be a bigger topic. So we want to say something to the end for you, keep you all. We should do a better job of teasing it in the beginning, like. Oh, at the end, you want to hear the take on. You kind of did like a little bit. We could tease a little better.
Jeff Bezos.
Yep. And one more thing. So just a little thing. New regions were added. This was like hinted at like a week ago. So more regions in the in Europe were finally added, which I was kind of odd. I thought Europe was already pretty well covered, but they added, if you weren't already. Belgium, Canada. Canada. Wait. These supported countries are listed with new additions highlighted. Okay, I should read better. Like
Canada. Canada's been around a while.
Austria.
Our very own Jackson Wells, the goodest boy.
Yes,
he pre-ordered Cyberpunk on Stadia to get that free premiere.
Wait, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I yeah. We'll have to talk about that after this. But
Some of them will like they'll just text me like sneakily, "Hey, I did this." Travail's the same way. And I'm
dude, why
like,
don't they like? I'm the Stadia
you
boy.
motherfuckers,
Let me
I'm gonna
know.
screenshot this shit and I'm gonna put it on the internet, and you're all gonna be outed.
It's funny.
That's how it works.
Austria, Chechnya, Hungary, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, and Switzerland. The one that's surprising is Poland wasn't already one of them. But
get these guys into South America.
But yeah, they finally South America. They said the one. They said the one.
Down there.
Oh, absolutely Hungary. And especially the it was just funny because they had
Hungary.
again. I'm not sure if he's Spain Spanish or has, South American Spanish, but the guy Vegeta who had like tons of views. I'm like, I guess are hyping the crowd for when they do release it. So hopefully it's soon. Like why? Like otherwise, why would you have this big Latin Spanish streamer lined up if you're not gonna cater to that crowd? Like yeah, just it's odd.
Capture it.
But no, so again, now 22 regions. This is on the heels of xCloud being now available in like Japan and Australia and other underserved regions that Stadia really needs to add. So Stadia needs to catch up on that end, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's that. Real quick, I do want to say because while you brought it up, Jackson and them, so. We've been posting recently about not even just us, other people have been posting in the kind of funny Facebook group about Stadia, and I'm seeing so much. We were talking about this before, like we're seeing so much more positive takes on Stadia. There's still a few bad eggs, and if you guys like, we're just being absolute trolls.
Their comments are getting less and less.
Yeah, getting less and less. And the guys, like the one guy got muted on there because I'm like, dude, like he literally actually like challenged me to have a mod remove him. Essentially, I'm like, dude, just go away. Like, we don't need your old joke. Like, your joke, it's a joke I hear on every single time I post. Like, I don't need to hear it again. Like, just keep scrolling. So I said to the guy, and he's like, that's just content moderation. So one of the mods came in like, hey, do you want me to remove you? And okay, we're gonna remove you for like 24
that was the guy
hours.
that you were like, fuck off. Right?
Yeah,
the one that you were like fully irritated with.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, he was. Well, he was literally just trolling. I'm like, dude, let's go the fuck away. Like, just keep scrolling. Like, I don't need your tired joke. Like, I hear the joke every single time. But yeah. Anywho, but
the tide is turning.
Every single time I'm seeing more people, like you said, you have people messaging you saying, "Oh, by the way, I pre-ordered on Stadia." Yeah. It's like, it's like people are coming around. And you've seen people saying like, "Oh, I dipped." One person said like, "I dipped on Stadia early. I tried it early on, didn't like it. I went back and tried it again." And I was like, I fell in love with it.
Comment today, they were like, I didn't want to be a piece of shit who just wrote this off knowing it was a new technology. So I held off and I waited and I came back to it and it works really well.
And now it's my main platform. Like,
yeah. And I was so impressed with that comment. They were like, I didn't want to just write this thing off.
Exactly.
And I think we have such a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to bring this all the way back. And for those who have been listening to me in the background, I said this joke 3 times and you never heard it and you never responded. So I'm going to say it again. I said South America is more hungry than hungry. Damn it.
That's good. I'm sorry.
No,
I got excited about other things.
I know. But anyways, I totally agree with you. The tide is finally turning. And I actually think, not to sound like we live in an echo chamber, but it's weird because I actually feel like our group that we met in and that we hang out in a lot is a good sampling size of the industry's thoughts on Stadia and where it starts. Because they are core gamers and
they are all across the world too. People in Japan,
have people in Argentina. Like one of the guys who dunks on us the most is from Argentina, and when I've called him out, it's Martin.
Yeah.
When I've called him out, he's like Martin Moreno. He's a wonderful human.
Very attractive.
He's like, listen, I would absolutely try Stadia. It's just not here, and that's what makes me mad. So even some of those people are dunking on it. And we have one guy that definitely also trolls us on every single post. And whether it's or whatever. But I'm not. I won't give him the satisfaction. He was the one that I was like, your comment got buried. I saw so much positivity today that it was easy to just scroll past your one little GIF. And so I think it's cool. I think they're building up goodwill and not by no means giving even the majority of the credit to this, but I think Cyberpunk coming day and date was a massive
Yeah.
win because almost every single person that's tried it
A-
since then that's the reason. They
And
want to know if it's going to work for them.
the promotion definitely lowered the barrier of entry for a lot of people too.
True. That was also huge. As we talked about on our last episode, tons of people in the group were like, "Oh shit, yeah, I'm going to try this."
I don't think I understood how much I was going to sell people on it. Like you
me
can
too.
play
I think I
just because like you can play Stadia on your PC if you're having with your controller, existing controller. What is it about playing on your TV that makes it like I need to play it now? Okay. I can get $100 free. Like I'm going to the Chromecast is $70 or so, but you're still spending $7 on a game to play on this platform. And if you return the game afterwards, they even said like they may charge you the $100 for the Chromecast or make you send it back.
Wow.
So like
for the Cyberpunk team?
Yeah, the deal.
Jeez.
So yeah, like people are still like investing in it and like, oh well, hey, it's a $60 game. Like I might as well try it on Stadia, like, which is cool. Yeah. Like I'm glad people are taking the leap and trying it.
Same.
It's cool. It's just a cool thing. So now let's talk about the Luna channel, Luna time.
Yeah. So speaking of the technology and how it's working and how people are coming around to it, this is coming at a time when Stadia has more competition than ever. So that does lead us to our final headline of the night. I got into the Luna beta.
Yeah.
I was a lucky boy. And you know what's crazy is I missed the first email telling me I got into the beta. I probably should have tried this like a week ago. And then I got an email that was like,
I'm gonna check
hey,
my email.
Don't miss your invite. And I was like, oh shit. And so I immediately jumped up, got off the couch, went over to the computer and set it all up. Do I just go hard? Luna sucks.
Well, let's say you're not playing with their controller. That is the Wi-Fi controller, similar to Stadia. So you're not getting the full Luna experience. So just put that little.
So I've tried it in a couple of different ways, just so we're very clear. I have tried it on my PC hardwired, and on my PC hardwired, I was plugged in with my Xbox controller, and then I tried it on my laptop. I actually still wired in my internet, and instead of wiring in my controller on that one, I did Bluetooth connection. And I have not tried it on my TV because I don't have a Fire Stick.
Yeah, and you don't, and none of you have iPhones either or iPads.
Nope.
Right?
No, we are an Apple-free house. Thank you very much. We're not a bunch of sinners around here. So yeah, those were the two experiences that I ran it on to give it a shot. On my PC, it was okay. We had some frame rate drops, some stutters. It was, a little off, but not too bad.
And you're playing exclusively the Ubisoft channel stuff, or do you actually get the Luna channel as well?
I did actually just try Ubisoft stuff, so maybe I need to try Luna channel just to see if there's a difference, but I can't imagine there would be.
Yeah.
So my biggest tests were I did play Immortals to bounce around and, because I played it on Stadia.
Compared to a real one-to-one, yeah.
Yep, exactly. So we have our one-to-one comparison, and then I played Valhalla. Again, PC, it had some hiccups. It definitely struggled a little bit. I definitely noticed a lot more texture popping than I've ever noticed in Stadia. And everything just didn't look as good. It was almost like dropping back down to 720 a few times.
Okay.
It's like I can feel it, right?
I don't know if you know what it's outputting at. I'm assuming with 1080.
Should be 1080.
Well, I just know like xCloud, granted it was on the phone, but it was the beta was only 720p.
True. So I guess
I'm assuming 1080p. I'm assuming they would go to 1080p.
Yeah.
Especially with games like Control on there. Like I'm not gonna want to play that game at 720p.
No. So then I jumped over to my laptop. Again, I decided to hardwire in the internet just because with my PC, it was like still already a little bit of a struggle, but I was like, you know what? I'll try it this way. Not good. The audio was completely out of sync. It was doing these very weird, like buzzy things. The texture popping was way more noticeable. I started having horrible frame rate drops, borderline freezing, definitely input lag. Like my combat skills went down in a heartbeat. And then I was like, maybe it's my wire, maybe it's the laptop, I don't know. So I immediately jumped into
Stadia.
Phoenix Immortal, or Immortals Phoenix Rising.
I
never remember it.
Trust me, I say Phoenix Immortals Rising.
It's not good. Anyways, I immediately switched over to that on Stadia through the browser on the same laptop, same connection. and it ran fine. And I think this is really important to know. From the moment I went from my PC to my laptop, nobody was streaming in my house, and it was running okay on my PC. When I went from here to the couch, Uriah turned on Animaniacs on Hulu, so he was streaming something, and that's when my quality tanked completely on Luna. But again, just to test against it to see if that was the only reason, I then bounced back over to Stadia, turned on Immortals, and literally not a skip.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, I was streaming last night on YouTube. Well, I was also on my other screen watching on Sling the Ravens game, while my wife was in the other room streaming terrible television that shouldn't be allowed in this house, but I let it happen.
Grey's Anatomy?
No. Reality television shows.
Oh, so much worse than Grey's.
Like, yeah. And not the good ones. Not like Amazing Race, which at least is an enjoyable reality TV show, like the dramalities, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
So yeah. And then I was streaming Stadia to my Stadia TV, and I was technically outputting my audio. So like uploading my audio. So like I was doing everything. I've actually noticed my internet company got bought. It's still broadband, but they got bought by Optimum.
Yeah.
And they actually upped the speeds a bit. They like the options, like we have more like different options now. I still stay at my same the old one, which was like it was 80 down and 6 megabits up, and now they have the minimum option is like 25. So I'm still paying my dollars. I'm getting now like 40 up randomly and like 100 down. So I'm getting 100 down and I'm paying for the cheaper price for the 80 down. So I'm actually getting like a little bit better down and up now. So, but even still, 100 down isn't like a ton.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not gigabit. Like everyone's like, oh, you need a gigabit internet to play a Stadia. I'm like, no, I'm playing on 100 down, 80 to 100 down with 3 streams going in the household. Again, I'm direct connected, but no problem.
Yeah.
Shove it up your butt.
So that's the end of my Luna rant. I'll say the technology has ways to go. I also don't really love the interface, and I understand we're on a Stadia podcast. I am all for Luna being successful. I think that's really important to say out loud. I welcome the competition for Stadia. I think it's going to make everybody better. But
it is Amazon, so fuck Amazon.
Also fuck Amazon.
But John, I want streaming platforms to be streaming to be successful. I do. Genuinely.
I do think their business model, if they can get it going, is better. $6 a month for unlimited play is amazing. But
that is very much a beta price. Like you said, like even the controller is like $50 during the beta, but it's going to be like $70 when it releases. And I heard the controller is trash. So
yeah, I haven't ordered it.
It feels like a bad knockoff Switch controller is what I've pretty much heard. So
yeah, people are saying it's a cheaper version of the Pro controller, and I've also heard it's worse than the Steam controller, which is also panned.
I have heard that the pairing is a lot better on that than Stadia, where like you don't have to punch a code and it just finds it, like it just knows. So it's smarter in that way, which is kind of cool. But otherwise, I heard like how it feels and plays, it's like mushy and just doesn't feel good. So
not great.
So yeah. But I think that's it. That's it for us. I mean, do you want to?
For us, only after an hour and a half.
Yeah, only hour 15. So we're like on par. That's like average for us.
Yeah,
I think long for us is like an hour 20. So I'm gonna trip like 2 minutes in the front, so it's actually like an hour 10. Like,
hey, look at that.
Yeah,
you got to hear 10 minutes. That is my Cyberpunk rant.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I am excited to play more Cyberpunk, and I'll report back on the next episode.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear more about it.
So. Anyways, thanks again for listening. This was episode 13 of Speaking of Stadia, and we hope to see you next time. In the meantime, keep clouding.